Hey everybody, I'm at a good man's shop here, Ron Woodworth. He's a motor builder. Now you know we do chainsaws, but I let it drop a little bit. We're going to do a big block Chevy, a 496. I had to come see this man because you know something. If you want pro work done, you go to the pros. And I needed some technical advice. Hey, by the way, we got heads and an intake. And as you know, we're taking a motor and detuning it a little bit so my son Colin can drive it without being frightened to death. But that's the way it works. Ron, we have these Speedmaster heads. They're Chinese heads. Let's tell the people a first impression of a Chinese head.
Well, money wise, for what it costs nowadays, to get anything worth a nickel, they're a darn good looking head. They could stand a little bit of work, which I assume you're probably going to do a little bit to them.
A little bit.
And but as far as bolt on, get the correct parts in there. Don't buy a head all assembled because it'll be, it won't be what you want compared to
Not
these.
disassembled. Been there, Ron.
Yeah.
Done it.
Yeah.
But
no, these are like I say, for the money, these are a good looking head.
what's the key features you liked on it?
Well, like it's got the Vortec, look to it, and a lot of small block, of course, Chevys. They come out with those Vortec heads, years ago, and I think this is like a somewhat of a copy of the Vortec situation, on all these heads anymore.
That proved it worked, didn't it?
Oh,
right
yeah.
on the track.
Yeah. So yeah, it was well worth doing.
Mm-hmm. Now we do have, just like, we run some, let's call it fairly inexpensive cylinders on these saws and build some of the nicest saws made in the world using comparable parts. But there's things you have to do. These heads are the same. The one thing Ron pointed out, which we know, is they went in and did a mill cut under the seat. And in this area here, they left that. They knew somebody was going to buy these heads. We're a do-it-yourselfer. And guys, we're all do-it-yourselfers, aren't we, on this channel? So that's what we're doing. Now, interesting thing about these heads, which is I think fairly good, we have a D port. It's a laid down D. Now, the exhaust valves run, they're canted, not as much as the intake, but they're canted. So what they've done is, instead of being straight across here, the valve angle is matched by the bottom of the floor of the port. Now we have edges here you can actually cut your fingers on, and little things like that.
A little tune-up.
Yeah, just a little bit of work there.
Yep.
And Ron's gonna build these heads up for us. And I'm going to do the old Iron Horse port. Yeah, well, I didn't even tell you they call me the Iron Horse. And
you got your angle plug, which.
You know what?
That's a
Big
good
Block Chevrolet had that idea early.
Oh, yeah.
And I was told by an engineer they only did that to get around the darn exhaust. They didn't play in nothing.
I can believe it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But that works for us.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That works for us.
Yeah.
Now, he's got a valve here. And he was pointing out a couple things on this valve.
We done a little research and done a little study on exhaust valves on these big block heads, or for as far as that goes, any head. We were dynoing an engine, and it was on the exhaust valve, where we ended up pulled all the exhaust valves back out of the head and put a taper on the actual bottom of the valve all the way around, and we gained horsepower by doing that because no doubt it lets that exhaust out of that engine just that much quicker. You don't think that'll work, but it was proven to me, and one of them things you never believe. It would be worth the time to do.
And I think we should.
Oh yeah.
I think we should.
Yep.
Now I'm going to just bowl blend, CC, and match my runners. I'm
Exactly.
going to match it to my intake. I've got a really nice method that I'm going to show on YouTube
Yep.
that to match them, so you're guaranteed success. So this is a
2.350 intake. It's a little bit big.
Yeah. Now these are bigger. This is bigger than what these heads accept. These accept the 2.2.
That's the only thing I had.
Okay.
Had.
Now obviously it's 50 thousandths too big.
Yeah.
But we're gonna cut. We're gonna cut in here into the chambers. I'm gonna have Ron. I'm gonna get a pair of really cheap valves, and I'm gonna have them reseed them to where they got a knife edge, so that when we're doing the bowl blending of the chambers, that I can follow that around with my tool. And let's do some pro level work, just like we do to the saws, and make something really good happen. Now, Ron, you just finished up another big block that I thought was quite intriguing. Let's tell people. Let's just show them. I hear you put a year warranty on it.
Oh yeah. That's a big 500 some cubic inch Hemi, and here's the heads that are going on it. You know, and as far as that newer type Hemi, this is kind of nothing I've done, you know, in the past.
Right.
I mean, if it was big block Chevy or something like that, but anyway, we're getting into this here a little bit. You know, cost-wise and everything, the thing runs on alcohol with a blower. You're talking about 4,000 horsepower.
No kidding.
And yeah, and it runs 1/8 mile, so it's going to be running like 3.5 to 4 seconds.
Isn't that the same size exhaust valves I need for an intake?
Probably.
It's just an eyeball thing, you know.
But with the Hemi head, you know how it's set up.
Hemispherical.
Yeah. Of course, totally different. Your piston is, you know, fits the chamber. And, yeah, I don't know. It'll be quite an engine when we get it done.
That's I find that very. This is not something that a lot of people's going to see on YouTube. Trust me,
No.
they're not.
No.
But I would love to see that run.
Oh yeah. Well, it's going to be. It'll be running at. It'll be running at Leicester.
And right where we're going to be.
Yep. It'll be running there because he wants to do some time trials with it, you know, and shake it down because the car's gonna be all new to him and everything, and now with this motor, yep, it'll be exciting to watch it run.
Guys, the intake cane that we're going to run. If we can get Colin over here, we'll show that. Then we got some. Well, let's finish up what we were talking about. This is one of the rods that come out of that Hemi. Aluminum rods. He said it was bent. And it is. I actually could see it right from here on back. It's bowed down.
Yep.
Now, that takes a lot to bend this.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, like you say, the hydraulic, you know, must have been working.
Yeah,
The hydraulic action.
Yeah, I think you did something. Okay, Ron, I'm going to let you take this whole next little segment here.
Okay, so you've got, here's one of the pistons out of it. Obviously, something came loose one time or another before it arrived here. But anyway, of course, the wrist pin, the oil rings, you know, the oil rings are holding the wrist pin into the piston. So I got a funny story. Way back when I was like 18, 19 years old, I got out of high school. This kid would come down the road with this 2-stroke Yamaha motorcycle, and it's a dirt bike, and I think it was like a 125, 175. And he goes, "You want to buy that bike?" And I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "The engine will lock right up on it." So he'd rock it back and forth. Fire it up, away he'd go. He'd come back down the next day and it would do the same thing. What happened was the clip come off the wrist pin. The wrist pin was going out in the port of the cylinder.
In the transfer.
And he'd be going right along and it would lock it right up. And he'd rock it back and forth. It would pop it back in place and then run.
I wish that worked at chainsaws, guys, but you've seen it. They don't.
That's insane.
But when you're running 14, 15,000 RPMs,
Yeah.
that wrist pin comes out,
Yeah.
it starts swallowing things.
But, you know, I mean, that was a learning deal right there.
Oh,
Took the
boy.
head off, and the cylinder head, of course, a nice little groove in it, and no saving, you know. Buy everything new.
Now, Ron has been doing, how long have you been building race motors?
Oh, since I was like 18, 45, 50 years.
Been a few days, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now there's things universal about race car owners. They want more horsepower than the next guy.
Oh, they always want more. You can't never have enough.
You can't never have enough.
Well, that's the story you always hear.
Yeah.
You know?
And now I've proved to myself, and I'm sure you did, that's not the case, is it?
No.
That's not.
No, you gotta have, your car's gotta handle it, you gotta have a good driver, and keep a level head, and the whole scenario, you know how that works. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's not just the motor. The motor's a big part of it, but.
Now, you know, in drag racing, it ain't just motor either.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you what the deal is for me. I have to have something I build that's super stable that will run its own dial in.
Yeah.
If I have
Consistent.
consistency is everything.
Yeah.
If I can't run within 2/10 in the first 3 months, I'm changing something.
Yeah.
If I'm serious.
Right.
Now here's what's going on. As you know, guys know, I used to drag race NHRA Winston Cup in Division 2. And that was a long time ago. Yeah, where I couldn't afford to do it now, but I know what 160 mile an hour every night feels like. And boy, adrenaline is a powerful drug, isn't it? So my son Cullen, which is behind the camera right now, smiling, is going to try his hand at foot brake racing. We're going to set up with probably a Hughes 2-speed glide with a trans brake and 2-step. I don't want him running the box, but he's going to foot brake it for a while, and we're going to redegree the cam and yeah, it's surprising what you can take away.
Oh, yeah.
The trouble is we're only moving horsepower around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like chainsaws. You've seen us do it time and time again.
Exactly.
So if I take this block of horsepower off the top end, where's that got to go? Down to the bottom.
Exactly.
This is what happens. Not exactly in the same ratio, though, thank God.
No.
And so now this is the scenario. I'm the world's greatest has-been, going to teach you what to be. This is racing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Let's talk about this intake right here. And I'll set this head down. All right.
Thank God they're aluminum, huh?
That's it.
Them iron heads, it takes 2 people for me to carry anymore.
Yeah. No, this is a nice intake. You know, I mean, I don't know money wise, but as far as, I mean,
Right about $750.
yeah. I mean, the quality, you know what I mean.
It's got the 2-inch spacer already in it.
Yeah, it's built in. And yeah, and you got, of course, you got your water ports if you want to run those. Got the divider in the intake for the
Yeah,
water.
we have to have the adapter. I run a 160-degree thermostat.
Yep.
I don't run a drag motor without a thermostat.
Right.
You know the deal. You think it's going to run cooler. You want stable consistency for great launches, and you have to have a controlled temperature range you run in, just like circle track.
Right.
Okay, now this is the Brodux high velocity. Now we got a problem here. We're trying to go slower.
How's that working so far?
All right? We're trying to slow this motor up. So we ended up buying and got a really awesome deal on a Brodix set up for a 4500 top.
So,
Takes a Dominator.
yeah, right. So, how big a carbon?
I want to hold him to a 950, but we can run a 1050 all day long.
Right.
But Brodix makes the nicest. You see these 4 bolts right here? You can spend your $163 and put a plate in here, which reduces your volume just slightly, which is good if you're going smaller. We could run a 4150 series 950 double pumper on it. And then, when Colin gets brave and starts running his trans brake, we'll just throw the big motor on it. in
Yeah,
Reed Green.
turn it loose.
Turn, caught it loose. Now, Ron, I had a question for you. Now, I told you I wasn't throwing any curves. I'll throw you one. We've always put our crossover right here on our backwater.
Mm-hmm.
You have a motor here that is done different. And I really wanted to ask you about that. And let Colin go over there with you. This one back here. Now, he's got a couple motors in here, and we're all interested in them.
Yeah, this is 370 small block that runs at a dirt track, but this hooks up to your water neck. Yeah, and you know your coolant lines, of course, going back to the back where the heat's mostly created. But no, that's what they do. That's how they run them.
Now, is that better than having a crossover, or just the same thing different?
It's actually better.
It's better.
Yeah, because you're bringing, you know, the water that comes into the engine right back to where the cylinders are the hottest.
Is that something I should consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We're going to listen. Like I said.
The only thing is, I might, if I was you guys, probably, no doubt you'd be running some bigger line.
Yeah.
You know, this is
Half inch.
Yeah, this is kind of reduced down. I don't really care
We
for
need
that.
half inch, maybe
but-
even bigger.
Yeah. Well, other than that, yeah.
Now, the water neck that we're looking at, we have to have the water neck for the 160-degree thermostat, is drilled for them lines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were for.
Yeah. Well, so there you go.
I have built so many motors over in the past, guys, you wouldn't believe it. But you know something? Ron's current. So I'm learning from a guy that's doing it every day. The few things that are different. But a surprisingly amount of things are still the same. What I like, guys, is like we can buy the 6AL2 programmable MSD box, and it's got the two-step built right in it. What that means, we can instead of putting a chip in like going back when I drag race, yeah, like that.
Yeah. See, this would be bigger, but
That actually would go right in there, same thread.
yeah. And this is a oil cooler line,
Yep.
but this is what you could actually. You wouldn't have to get a high pressure. You can do it with like a barb fitting here
Right.
in the blue hose or whatever.
Now is this the AAL?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
All right. See, we're learning. That's why we're here. Now, you guys come to my channel to learn. I'm coming to Ron to learn and actually watching some of you guys. Okay. Now, there's something that I want you to know. I listen to you guys too, and I had questions about the E85 fuel. I got some excellent answers. I thank you so much. And but my friend Ron here has been a very, very big help, and we got some really exciting things coming up with this project. Now that don't mean we're going in a drag race and forgetting chainsaws. This is added to it. Colin's going to end up doing most of the work while I'm working on saws, and we're just going to combine the two worlds. How's that? Sounds good, doesn't it? Okay, thank you very much, people. Goodbye.